Hello and welcome to the Science Fiction and Fantasy Factory. I'm your host, Mookie Spitz, and I'm overjoyed to have Ingrid Moon, SoCal Collective.
It's not mine. Don't make me owner.
Well, we had your name on the damn tent.
That was just because they made me do it to order the tent.
And you nabbed the preferred parking too.
Not sorry. That was my reward for doing all the work.
I would say that's a good trade-off.
You deserved it, though. Ingrid Moon, ladies and gentlemen, who was the PTA mom of our writers collective. This is the second conference, Congress, convention that we've all done together. 4 writers, one unit, selling our books, our science fiction and fantasy books at these conventions. We did Pasadena together a few months ago, and with Ingrid's maternal energies. We all assembled at
My project management energy.
Awesome. The LA Festival of Books, folks. We had a great weekend a couple weekends ago, April 18th and 19th. And I think we had our most robust sales to date by volume and time. Let's talk about it. Let's decompress. We got a lot of listeners who themselves are indie authors. We've got science fiction and fantasy fans. And a lot of people are curious how it went, and we can't wait to appease their curiosity. Let's start with you, Ingrid.
It went great. It's my first real profit ever.
That is a bold statement from an indie author at a convention, at a conference.
I've been doing this for it's been a year and a half now, and so each time you learn a little more and you get a little bit bigger. And this was probably the biggest event in terms of the number of congoers. So I think we did pretty well. Apparently we were the science fiction booth, the only one. I don't know. Was there another one somewhere? So I think we got a lot of attention in that respect. People were like, "Oh, it's the science fiction booth," or "Oh, whatever." So that was good for us.
And the crowd was diverse, and they were readers. They went looking for us.
Most everybody was readers.
How about you, Craig? What's your feedback?
So for me, it ended up being my second best show ever. But if you look at just Saturday and Sunday sales, which this was just a Saturday and Sunday event, it's actually tied for first. The only reason the other show was better is it had a Friday attached to it. But I sold a lot of book ones, and I think really the show highlighted discoverability. Like, people were looking for new things to start and looking for new authors. So I think that's, if we ever do it again, I think that's something to keep in mind.
Terrific. Blake and Sherry, Shimshock. You guys were there Saturday.
Yes.
Blake was leaving on Saturday. I go, we're not coming back tomorrow. We got a life, buddy.
Yeah, my thoughts on that. It was our third gig now?
Yeah, just
third
our third
fourth,
gig. Yeah,
so-
third or fourth, yeah.
And we did pretty well. And, we left some books with you guys, and you said the book one sold out. So
What was left, yeah.
So that's a good thing. Can't really compare it to, last year. We haven't been there, but we hope to go to next year's.
You know what I thought?
We hustled for you. We hustled.
Yeah, I thought one of the things that just made it so special was for someone who's an indie writer and just trying to get up and really running. How often have all of you been told, nobody reads anymore? Nobody reads anymore. And then you go and there are all those people. They came for a book fair. It was all about the books. And that was inspiring, and it made me feel great just to know. And we did well too. We did do well, but that was a great show in that aspect.
Yeah, I think us all being together too really helped. Like if one of us had been alone or something, like it wouldn't have had the same effect. The fact that we could group together and have lots of options for people, because people come in and they'd be like, "Oh, yours interested? Oh, hey, I want that," right? And that was especially for Greg because he just stole the show. Really, that was great. It was like people would be like, "Beeline, right to that one." But it was great because it gave us an opportunity to really like share the love and give everybody a little something they wanted, and that was my favorite part was with you guys.
There was 1 or 2 times where we were all pitching each other's books and not our own because of just the way people came into the booth, which was really funny, but fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
I liked the spirit of that. I enjoyed working with all of you because we learned to like, oh, if you don't like this, you'll like that. Or if you like this, you'll like that. And it was just really helpful.
Yeah, there were people that wanted robots. So, okay, go over to that guy over there.
It always starts with that question, what kind of science fiction do you like?
Yeah.
And then, they're like, well, I like this kind. And you're like, that one.
Yep.
They got their choice, and there was a steady stream, literally of thousands of people. And they were very receptive to fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Like at LA Comic Con and at Pasadena, you could yell over, and sometimes they'd just keep going. But here they were very, very curious. So even if science fiction wasn't at the top of their menu, they were titillated, and they would come by, and they had a big selection between the 4 of us, and we've got a diverse set of interests and books, and it was something for everybody. And we could pitch each other stuff with enthusiasm. I was most successful out of all the cons I've attended. I've got a book with a kitty cat on the cover, and that didn't fly too well over at the Comic Cons. But here we had that broader type of reader. So even though my science fiction book has the cover of a Vermont poetry book, they were drawn in. I had sales based on the cover alone. They weren't even listening to my pitch. They just bought it.
I just want it because it has cats on it.
It had cats. Tell me about the cats. So there you go. Something for everyone, and it was a lot of fun. And my biggest takeaway, again, was just like Sherry mentioned, people are still reading, folks. Mm-hmm. We tend to buy into this narrative that books are dead, that readers are finished, that it's all digital, and that AI is taking over the world. But you had a bunch of people into vinyl records, at least in a literary sense, and they flourish, and they were very interested.
They wanted that physical book.
Yep.
Yeah. Physical books are on the rise. Apparently bookstores are doing really well. And not that ebooks are dropping, but more and more people now are like, oh, you know what? It's kind of like, I think when we went back to LPs, like people want that physical sort of analog touch.
Yeah.
So
they had bags of books. They were going around, and some people came and they bought the whole sampler pack. They bought one from each of us. They liked our pitch, and they liked our energy, our collective energy.
Yeah.
They could tell we enjoyed each other, that we were cross-promoting each other's work. The vibe in the booth was fun and festive, and they tapped into that. Few folks, after we pitched them, would leave. They'd explore the rest of the festival, and then they came back to buy hours and sometimes even the next day. And that's inspirational. And it's cool to see a pitch work. It's frustrating when you lay it out and they're just kind of like, woo, they're gone. But they came back. They stuck around and they bought.
Yeah. And it was a learning experience too. Just because I listened to all of you pitch, I listened to how you, and then I could tell after a while, well, if that's not their thing, then I know I should say this because this is also true, and this is also valid. And it made a difference.
Yeah, you almost want to pepper them with like, it could be this or this or this or that. And when they latch onto one, you're like, yeah, so.
Don't let on that.
Yeah, you watch their eyes to see when it clicks and when it engages, and then okay, then I get hit this area. Or if they're not getting it, then you kind of tailor it around to something slightly different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
I can tell when I'm pitching if somebody's like rolling their eyes. They're like, okay, I'm done listening to you now. I'm like, okay, moving on. I did the very short version.
And sometimes you could tell by the T-shirts they're wearing what they're into.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, okay, it's sort of like that, and a little glitter in their eye.
Sometimes even if you just relate to them, like maybe they're not really into buying science fiction right now, or that wasn't what they came for, or it's kind of like not their primary thing, but they're wearing that band T-shirt or something, and you just have that conversation, and then they're like, I'm just going to buy your book.
Yeah.
And then hopefully they'll read it too. But...
Yeah. They had a partner, a dad, who was into science fiction.
Yep.
Especially with this crowd. So if science fiction wasn't their thing, they had a partner who was with them who they'd call over, or they had someone top of mind that they were buying the book for. Yeah. I know I signed many kitty cat books, not to the person buying the book, but to the person they wanted to give the kitty cat book to. That was fun in its own way.
For sure.
So let's give a little background, folks, to viewers and listeners, especially those coming to meet us for the first time. Let's pitch our own stuff, going around robin as we pitch during the day, just so folks can acclimate to who we are, what we're writing, and how we sold that weekend. Ingrid, do you want to start?
I need to hear Greg go first, because whatever he says is going to be eloquent, and then I will be able to fish off of that.
Do you want the full pitch, or do you just want like the abbreviated podcast version?
Well, start with the quick pitch. Like, pretend I'm walking by in a sea of people. I see this. What was the square footage of our little area that we all crammed into? It was what, about
9 feet 4 inches by 9 feet 4 inches.
Wow. So under 100 square feet.
Yep.
Was the total surface there. So imagine, folks, and I'll put visuals on for the YouTubers. We were pretty much crammed into less than 100 square feet. We had 4 authors. How many books total? I know I brought 4. We're dealing with over 20 different books, 4 different authors in our separate zones in under 100 square feet. So they come in, we try to make them comfortable. The sun was beating down. The weather was nice, Southern California nice. But it did get hot and it was intense. So part of the draw is come on into the shade, of which there might have been a little sliver in back. So they come on in, and then we segmented them. Do you like robots? Do you like Ender's Game? Do you like the Galactic Agent Indiana Jones? Or do you like kitty cats? And then they went for it. So I like robots. Greg?
Okay. So my series is called Mech Haven. Book 1 is Pax Machina. I like to describe it as Transformers meets Braveheart. Basically, there's been this galactic war raging across the galaxy, and it's finally come to an end. And so a group of the sentient robots and humans that fought in the war have retired to this planet called Mech Haven, and they're trying to make a new life, and they're living together with each other relatively peacefully. Then a super advanced robot who's been trapped behind enemy lines crash lands, and he declares Pax Machina, which basically means I'm done fighting, I'm requesting asylum. But for him to stay, the residents of Mech Haven have to disarm him, and the only problem is they can't because he's one giant walking weapon. And then the bad guys come looking for him. And so they have to decide, do we give this new guy up who we just met? Or do we risk everything that we've been building for and defend him as one of our own? And so their decision has major consequences for the rest of book 1 and leads into the rest of the series. And while I do that, of course, I'm pointing to the different book covers and seeing if those are engaging, because I have super bright, colorful, well-designed book covers. And so that if I can see them checking out the book covers, then that's definitely a good sign that they're going to like it more and want to either read the back of the book or ask some questions about the series. Yeah, and that's my pitch.
Tell us about 2, 3, 4, 5, real quick. Like, they're looking at the cover, they're touching it. You want that?
Yeah.
Big
So basically, book 2 deals with the ramifications of the end of book 1. basically leaders around the galaxy come to Mechhaven to honor the fallen and honor the ones that survived. And in the process, they get pulled back into galactic events. A subset of the warriors get sent off on a secret mission. They get rearmed. And that's what book 3 is about. Book 3 is basically, I like to describe it as Apocalypse Now with robots, although I changed that up a little bit now because not everybody knows what Apocalypse Now is. And so it's kind of it's the middle story. It's kind of the Empire Strikes Back of my series. It gets a little bit darker. They learn a lot of secrets about what happened in book 1, and they discover a new enemy, which basically changes and flips the script for the rest of the series. And then in basically book 4 is called Rally Point. Basically, they discovered an alien invasion is coming, and Mechhaven is the rally point, the center where everything is happening. And then the last book, By Archangel's Light, is just a nice, big, thick doorstop of a book. And it's basically one giant battle across multiple planets and in space. So it's a lot of fun for anybody who likes sci-fi and battles.
And you gave a deal if they bought all 5? You get a little discount?
Yeah. Normally I charge $20 for one book. And if they buy more than one book, it'll be $15 each. So it'll be $75 for all 5. And then depending on which show I'm at, I'll either give them a signed print of one of the book covers, or sometimes I'll throw in the extra novellas. It kind of just depends on what I got going on.
And you've got your own little embosser, which is a
I do, yeah. It just says Gregoration X, Sci-Fi and Fantasy, and it has a little symbol on it. It's just a nice little personal touch that you can do to the books when you sign it. That's something I tried doing, and I like it.
Yeah.
Epic. And the quick Hollywood pitch is Transformers meets Braveheart.
That basically describes the series in a nutshell. Even the later books, although in the later books they do end up getting rearmed quite a bit and aren't just fighting with swords and shields and spears and stuff. So, but that's a good Hollywood pitch of the overall series.
And you brought a big Hollywood sign, so your signage was awesome. You had Greg Sorber, Mechhaven with the robots going on, and it was a good draw as people went by.
Yeah, that was a nice
shade. It was good shade in the heat.
Yeah. Definitely said, hey, there's sci-fi here, so which was good. Because I think sci-fi was really hard to find from the people I was talking to. There's a couple of fantasy people and romantasy types, but I didn't hear of hardly any other sci-fi.
I think we owned it. I trolled the whole festival around when I took a break, trying to find more podcast guests and just being my usual annoying self. And I didn't see any other real sci-fi dedicated authors, let alone a group, the enclave, the collective, as we were. So I think we owned it in that sense, which really helped because people did come back. Very fun. Blake and Sherry, Derek Fade series.
Oh, yeah. Derek Fade, the Chronicles of Derek Fade, volumes 1 and 2. And we're beginners, and we only have 2 out. Third one coming out soon. But it's about a galactic intelligence agent that goes on different missions, gun runners and smugglers, and all the real life problems we have here. We just take them out in space. And the overall arc is his wife is murdered by a gangster. So that's the backdrop of, what he goes through. And
he is looking for revenge for the man who murdered his wife, at the same time that he's a law and order guy. I mean, he's galactic intelligence. And so he's kind of in a conflicted, dark place when you first meet him. But the story's very much science fiction adventure because, I mean, he's chasing him in the sky. He's chasing him on the ground. He's getting into fights. He's getting his butt kicked. He's kicking butt. So there's quite a bit going on with him. And sometimes he can be very rude and snarky, but he always gets the job done in the end. He always gets his man, whoever he's after, or his woman. And so, yeah, so I think, and we are, you know what's hard about pitching? Two of us, we have different favorite ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, when we're working together, it's sort of one mind, but then we have our favorite parts, you know, and our favorite aspects of it.
Yeah.
So, but.
And we compare it to Firefly or now Cowboy Bebop. And
yeah,
a lot of people open their eyes. Oh, yeah, we know that one.
Yeah.
And it's 007 in space with Indiana Jones action.
Yeah. He's.
I pitched you guys James Bond meets John Wick.
Okay.
With Men in Black.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah.
I think I helped convert a couple with that.
Yeah.
And just for context, Blake and Sherry are a happily married couple, and they are happily co-writing these books.
Yes.
Blake's the creative idea guy, and Sherry gets it all down on the page. And that interplay is really heartwarming and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And when he said our third one is coming out, we are just about ready to submit for editing on the third book. So we're hoping to have it out this summer.
I was just going to say, a lot of people really keyed in on your covers, and they made a beeline for your books, I noticed.
Oh, really?
Oh, we have an amazing artist. So we'll make sure to tell her that.
Yeah.
Covers make a huge difference.
They do.
Yes, they do.
Don't judge a book by its cover, said Comic-Con goers never.
Right.
I had a friend who said, don't make your cover based on selling at live events. And I said, So the majority of my sales are at live events. The cover is the most important thing. They need to see that from across a con.
What's the difference if they're scrolling or whether they're in person? A vivid, compelling cover that differentiates and excites is going to sell the damn book. They don't have 12 hours to sit down immediately and check it out. They're going to buy on impulse like most people do.
I will say, because on my Gift of Orosine novella that I'm giving away, if I put that out there and it's next to a bunch of other fantasy covers, it's invisible because it's white with the gray and black, whatever, and so with the little purple swirls, but it doesn't stand out. So what I did for the digital version, I put a border around it because it has to stand out from the background somehow, and it just literally was invisible. I was like, where's my book? Oh, geez, I missed it myself. So book covers mean a lot.
A lot. You had several people beeline to your corner of our little 100 square foot tent. And I remember one guy in particular bought your hard copy set, your hardcover set.
Yeah,
just
all the
really on impulse. And he just
did you even pitch him on that, or did you just say, I want those books?
That's why I bring them up.
More than its Expanse and whatever my Ender's Game
Expanse.
Like, okay, I'll take all three. I was like, what? That happens a lot though. I don't know if it happens to you, Greg, but like I don't barely say anything and they're like, I'll just take them, or I'll take one, or whatever. I'm like, okay, here, so you don't even know what it's about, but it's great. Go enjoy it.
Yeah, I happened to be at this festival for the first time again because of this crowd. But usually my kitty cats haven't got me to leverage. So Ingrid, your turn. Pitch.
Oh, well, I had a whole bunch of different books. So I had my Saxon Saga series where we have it's Ender's Game meets The Expanse meets Andor. So I've been throwing that one in because everybody loves Andor, right? So Ender's Game meets The Expanse. We have a young strategist who works for the bad guy, and hopefully their eyes don't gloss over, because if they do, then we're done. But if that hooks them, then they're bad guy. Well, that's interesting. Then I can go into a little longer version, which is he works for the bad guy. He doesn't want to work for the bad guy because nobody likes working for an evil boss, right? So he's trying to escape. He's got some secrets he's trying not to let get out, so he doesn't get himself killed. But he's forced to work with the bad guy's assassin, who's a teenage girl with elemental powers, and she is reckless and ruins everybody's plans, ruins his plans, the warlord's plans, the universe's plans. So he decides along the way that in his escape plans, he's going to have to take her with him because he can't leave that weapon with the bad guy. She's too powerful. So spoiler alert, they live. And so people usually get a chuckle out of that, right? And then, they move into the second and third books they move into a more deeply conflicted political arena, which they are not prepared to handle, being young people. So that was that one pretty much. I also had the Biohunter, which is a standalone right now. It is the Biohunter goes out into the wasteland to collect mutant animals. He brings them back so the corporate elites can exploit them. They send him out to find a girl with a mutation, and she fights back. She's a wasteland fighter. She's totally snarky and tries to fight back and gets his number and makes him question his life choices.
That one's sold. That's your flagship. That's your attention getter.
What do you call it when you start drugs, and it's your gateway? My gateway book. Yes.
It got a lot of attention. I saw people really, really look at that book.
I think also the cover, again, it's yellow mostly, right? I have it here. Like it's can't see. It's pretty bright, so you can see.
Yeah, I'll put the layover in the video. It looks like Chernobyl.
which it could be because it's a post-apocalyptic story. So that was another one. If somebody said, "What kind do you like?" Well, I like Fallout or Apocalypse or whatever. You can there's a book right there. So that's helpful. I also had my Festival of the Fallen, which was my cozy fantasy, which I think mostly I just wanted to have a fantasy there because a lot of people, even though we were really all science fiction, some of us are, like Greg and I are writing fantasy as well. And so we just I wanted to have something there to be like, if you're like, oh, science fiction is not for me, this is for you. Especially because mine are kind of hard sci-fi. Like, if that's not for you, if you're not into The Expanse or whatever, like, my books probably won't thrill you. Maybe they will. I don't know. But I wanted to have a little fantasy. That's the only fantasy I've got so far. So hopefully this summer we'll have the first big book in the series.
You sold me on it, though. I want to read that one.
Yeah.
The big book or the little book?
The Bard one. The one with the bards, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so to pitch that one is the two bards get in a fight at a festival. One steals the other one's story and makes it his own, and then she gets all mad. And there's a murder mystery underneath. That's it. Just the simplest pitch I've ever made.
Yeah.
Fantasy is hot and getting hotter. How many times were we at the other cons and we were like, "Do you like science fiction?" And they're like, "No, fantasy."
Exactly.
So now we have a backup. We have a great objection handler to that, which is, "You like fantasy? Come on over. We got that too."
So, yeah, there you go.
Good stuff. And then my corner was advertised as the outlier, kind of the weird sci-fi section. And that's probably true because I go cross genre. The flagship book that I had for science fiction is Johnny Fazuli and the Transfinite Reality Engine. And Johnny Fazuli is the most reprehensible Gen Z male that you can imagine. He's a narcissist, exhibitionist, extreme sports enthusiast, drug addict, hedonist, jerk, and he is also a hustler. So he embezzles R&D money by promising inventions that he never builds. And he gets the idea that if you could build a machine that can jump universes in the multiverse, then it's like a genie's lamp. Because if there's an infinite number of universes where every possibility plays out, there's a universe out there exactly like this one, except it happens to have your dream fulfilled. Hires a real scientist to make his scam even more elaborate, simply to get more money, embezzle more people. The scientist is a genius, and she actually builds it, and then hilarity ensues. So that was the pitch for that one. I got about a quarter of the way through it usually, and then they either liked the kitty cats on the cover or they didn't. And I had two cats. My niece did the cover, a black cat with white mittens and a white cat with black mittens. they flip universe to universe, and that was intriguing to some people. So I got more sales than usual with the cats. And I also brought a few extra books, considering that this was the LA Festival of Books. I bought a corporate satire play that I had written. Employees of a douchey, typically corporate, dysfunctional American firm are at each other's throats until the sky literally goes out and they don't quite know what to do with themselves. So it's Office meets the Twilight Zone. And then I wrote a memoir, too, from my own wild and crazy Johnny Fazuli days in the 90s, when this guy shows up banging on my door with a big duffel bag full of drugs. And he goes, "Mookie, you got to hang on to this. They're after me. See you later." And 72 hours of mayhem ensues, and it unfolds in the novella. So I brought kind of an ensemble for folks to experience as an alternative to the fare that these other great writers were offering. And I actually had some success with these outliers too, given the crowd. Super fun. And I was also included in the 2026 anthology of science fiction novelists. It's a collection of about a dozen writers with a couple dozen stories, comes out every year, put out by S.A. Gibson of Protected Books. He had his booth across the way as well. He came by to visit and say hi. He's trying to recruit all of you to submit next year if you want to do that. And I had a few copies of that too that I brought, and I actually sold a few copies at cost, as it were, but it's good to just get your stuff out there. So robust crowd, really a lot of fun. I just love meeting people, talking to people, bullshitting with people. When you're online trying to hustle your stuff, either you're on Goodreads or Facebook or TikTok, Instagram, then there's always a boundary. And especially when you're writing your book and you're all into your head, the connection between you and your reader is amorphous. They're as fictional as your characters. You need to kind of project and see if they'll like it. And if you're focused on your readers at all, which I am not. So it was good to actually connect with folks who would be reading the book that I'm pitching. And that's priceless. So we did actually make money this weekend. And to me, that's secondary to just the experience of actually meeting people who are readers and are interested in your stuff and actually connecting with other humans.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're an indie writer, I think all of us can't recommend that enough. Just go out there and do cons.
We did have a bunch of we did have a handful of people who are also writing their own books, and they didn't have a booth, but they went around kind of sharing their stories and talking to us, and spreading their own love, so to speak, because it's hard, but it's important to get out there, put the face out there. You can't just like hide behind your keyboard.
We're asking how to do it. How did you get this far? And just like we were in that position years ago, going to cons and asking people, and so we went that route, and now we're climbing that mountain.
Yeah. And it was nice to be able to give some good, to give people some advice that they can take or leave.
Yeah.
Obviously, but it was kind of nice to help, because there have been people who've helped us along the way.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, writing online, selling your books on Amazon, or if you're wide, there's a huge distance between you and the reader, and you're at the mercy of algorithms and all sorts of things you cannot control. And here you can at least talk to, or at in-person shows, you can at least talk to potential readers, pitch your book to them directly, and make that connection, which I think is very valuable. So yes, I would definitely recommend that to more people. Once you have a book or three out, I wouldn't doing it with one book, I think, is pretty rough. But if you have multiple books or multiple things to sell, I think it's worth it. Yeah,
several people who came up to us were writers themselves, and just like Blake and Sherry mentioned too, they were in an inchoate state. So they were thinking about writing, they had written a book and they didn't quite know what to do with it. And a lot of folks were asking us for advice, like, how do you do what you do? It's flattering and it's also endearing, which is, it is a struggle. It's hard, but it's eminently worth it. And if we could offer any kind of best practice and encouragement, then booyah, that's another great aspect of actually meeting folks out there.
And I'm obviously, which is the whole reason I love sharing, I am very much about the tide lifts all ships, right? So we're competitors, but not, right? We can even share a booth and help each other out, and yet we're still going to do better than if we were trying to do this by ourselves. And sometimes it's better to do it by yourself, like if you have a small table and you're at a con or something and your people are more focused or whatever. But a lot of times, like this kind of thing really works out, and I enjoy the company. So, and hearing your pitches and going like, okay, how do I tweak my pitch? And
No, the company can definitely is definitely helpful because there wasn't so much of an issue at this one because I don't think we had a downtime of more than 5 or 10 minutes. Where at a con, sometimes you could sit there for 30, 45 minutes to an hour between people actually coming up and talking with you. So, and then you're sitting there usually by yourself unless you bring a family member or something, or you get to know the people next to you or across from you. But definitely having the company is pretty nice.
Yeah. We made it look like a fun booth.
Oh yeah, we were party time. We needed a disco ball.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of folks who are selling, especially if you go around, they're standing there like this, or they're on their phone, or a lot of folks were just behind the table sitting there, just staring at the crowd.
Lemonade stand.
Yeah, lemonade stand in the neighborhood. It was just kind of boring and you didn't feel any energy. So why would you come up and engage? And it puts the onus on the reader, on the customer. And whenever you're selling anything, it's your job to exude energy to draw them in. And people like attention. So even if they're standoffish at first, like, hey, do you like science fiction? What's going on? Great t-shirt. We were just yelling and engaging. And sometimes they're a little bit put off, like you're selling to them. People sometimes have a natural reflex to resist being accosted, being interrupted in their flow. But a majority of folks enjoyed the attention and appreciated that. And many people who ostensibly weren't into science fiction and fantasy liked the attention. And once you engage them, and it wasn't just about selling our books, it was about making a connection. And the real art of selling, consultative selling, is you make small talk. You create a connection with people. You get to know them. And it's almost, oh, by the way, here's the book.
Or you just have that conversation and they're like, okay, and so now tell me what you have. I've had that happen several times, right? Where they're like, okay, you're not selling me your book. Why don't you sell me your book? And honestly, like, if you don't want to read about my book, I don't care. I'll just we'll just talk.
There were a few instances too where I could tell they were already in buying mode. They had already bought. You had already converted in that rhetorical you, and it's tempting just to keep talking, and they're all like, "Can you just give me the damn book and sign it already? Here's my
You want to move?
Here's my debit card. Just shut up already."
Shut up and take my money. Yeah.
We didn't actually take too many breaks. So even though we had 4 people and 3 people after Blake and Sherry got a life and didn't come back on Sunday, we had a full booth, but we kind of stayed in the booth, right? We didn't wander around too much, which is also a good sign. I think that had a lot to do with the sheer volume that we were experiencing. We didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
I hate to leave a booth, and even when I do want to see a con, so like even at some cons, I don't care to walk around. I've seen 100,000 of them at this point. They're all the same, but unless there's something I specifically want. But I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I don't like to leave the booth. I prefer to be there because if I'm not there, I'm not selling. right? And it's not even, or if I'm not there, I'm not meeting people, right? Or whatever. And I feel like even though we're all introverts and we're all behind the keyboard most of the time or whatever, getting out there and like, this is the one time where I have energy to be extroverted, and I'm exhausted at the end of the day, but it's worth it.
Well, it's lucky for us because she can go take a break, go get coffee or whatever.
Talk to people.
And then it's my turn, so there's always somebody there to pitch our stuff. Now, when it comes to signing, oh, hurry up and come back. You have to wait for the other signature. We've never had that problem. But
didn't somebody teach you that you need to learn when you're married, you need to learn to forge each other's signatures?
Well, I'm learning to clone myself, so maybe we'll send our clones out there
to walk around.
Yeah.
That's funny because our signatures couldn't be more different either.
Oh, they're very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
So I'd have to really work hard.
Or just come up with a different style.
Nope, I like my style.
Anybody ever call you guys like Blairy?
No.
And we're not going to start.
Or Shake Shimshock. That sounds like a character in your book, Shake Shimshock. So tell our viewers and listeners, folks, what's next? You've got more fantasy stuff, Ingrid, right? You're going to pump out that one. What else? That's the next one in the hopper.
Yep.
Blake and Sherry, you got the third book coming out. What's the due date for that?
Oh, we don't really have a due date, but
May 15th.
We'll say some. It's called The Rise of Bondi, and she takes over Valdoon's crime syndicates. So just another baddie, that's all.
But at least she didn't murder anybody, right?
Excuse me?
She didn't murder anybody this time.
No. Well, I'm sure she's murdered quite a few people, but nobody close to Derek so far.
Right, okay.
There will be a body count.
Yeah.
Yes, there needs to be a body count.
Yes. Yeah.
What about you, Greg? You got the 5 books finished?
Yeah, I got the Mechhaven books finished. Selling at this show kind of inspired me to do an omnibus edition, so I'm investigating doing an omnibus edition. I'm going to contract with my artist to do a kind of a brand new omnibus cover. Probably going to cost me a lot of money, but I think being at a show like that, you have an opportunity to sell so selling 5 books is one thing, but if they see all your books contained in one, that is another. Some people are more into those than they are individual books, and so I think it'll be a good way to go.
It's the collectors.
Yeah, the collectors. Yeah. And it's good for online sales too, because I'm in Kindle Unlimited, and those usually do pretty good in Kindle Unlimited for page reads. So that's just going to be busy work, project management work, trying to get it ready, do some light editing to clean up a few things in all the books. So hopefully maybe by September, October, I'll have that ready. And then my big project I'm working on is a fantasy series. I'm working on book 1, about 2/3 of the way done at this point. And it seems like I've been 2/3 of the way done for about 2 months, but I am making very little incremental progress. But I think once I hit the 3rd act, I think the rest of it should flow pretty easily. And who knows how long it's going to take me, because revision wise, I really want to get this one right and set it up just right so that the rest of the series kind of just flows together. So
the mechanism behind the narrative is evocative and very creative. Can you give us a little hint? You pitched it to us.
Yeah. So basically the protagonist, the main hero, he is a descendant of a, for lack of a better word, wizarding family who's been cursed. Their powers have been stripped from them. And basically the powers in that world are kind of geographically centered. And so to prevent him from the family from ever getting power again, they basically get magically teleported to a random part of that planet every 30 days or so. And so they can't really ever gain power again. And so because he jumps around every 30 days, it opens up a lot of opportunities to explore a variety of different fantasy settings, fantasy story tropes, all kind of built in. But there is kind of a narrative thread that runs, and he kind of keeps getting pulled back into certain situations so that you can have a beginning, middle, and end of the story. So that's going to be the tricky part, is kind of trying to keep that creative without making it seem too contrived. So so far, I think I've got it pretty well plotted out for at least the first 3 books. And then we'll have to do the last 3 books. Have to do a little bit of work on those.
Oh, the character glues it together.
The character, yeah. And he has certain people he's close to, but it's really a character study on what does that do to somebody who they get ripped out, from their life, whatever they're doing, and they could be in a comfortable situation. They might be hanging out with some farmers for a month, and the next month they might be with some mercenary company. Or they could end up in the middle of a band of orcs or something, and so that's not a really good situation. So I've got some fun situations to do it, and there's a whole overarching narrative kind of just about the use and misuse of power, and kind of some rebellion aspects, and but it's definitely a very character focused story.
Very, very cool. Love the idea. And as far as my scribbling goes, Johnny Fazzuli's sequel, I'm envisioning 5 books in the series. Johnny's based on a Siege short story that I wrote a few years ago, and it goes all the way through him actually building the device and teleporting out there, and that opens up into a multiverse saga. But I got carried away writing the first one, and the first book ends with him, spoiler alert, completely incapacitated in a Las Vegas hospital, all mummified with his blonde hair sticking up.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get to the Texas Panhandle to actually build the transfinite reality engine. So the sequel will take place mostly in Texas, outside of Amarillo. Johnny dons a big cowboy hat and rides a horse, and it gets Cowboy Beboppy, actually. There you go. So I'm working on that, and then I'm working on a prequel of sorts inspired by a bunch of military sci-fi writers appearing on prior podcast episodes, and a light bulb went off that I've got a killer alien kitty cat that I've given the readers a premonition of in the book, and I thought that she would make a terrific series unto herself for a whole different audience. So I'm working on that as well. So I'm going forward in the series and backward in different style just to give it a whirl. But it's so much fun. It's as fulfilling to me as it's damaging to my personal finances, this writing career.
Yeah.
And it's worth every penny I'm not making at this point. It's so much fun. It's been a real joy meeting other writers. That's at the top of the big benefit package. And you guys are the best. Thanks to Ingrid for herding us cats and meeting all of you. I've had each of you separately on podcasts. It's fun to bring the band back together after these get-togethers. And what are we looking forward to in the future? I know Ingrid's always tossing us messages saying, hey, what about this con? What about that? And you're always about 10 steps ahead of everybody in terms of the planning.
Because I got the whole list all the way through next year, as many as I can get.
What's it looking like, just so we can get our own bearings? What's the next possibility for us?
I'm doing the Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario. And then what do we have after? Oh, I have a BayCon, which is in Santa Clara, so way up north. It's a sci-fi convention. So there's that. And then I'm trying to think of what are the group ones we're doing. And then I don't remember anything after that until I think with the rest of the summer we have off. That was July. In August or something, and then in we're doing. I'll let Greg talk to the one out.
Oh,
that
well,
he's
yeah,
organizing.
we're hopefully doing Worldcon, right? Unless you got
Oh yeah,
news
Worldcon.
that
I
we're
knew that.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, LA
August.
Worldcon. I was actually in touch with their event planner from when I came to visit you guys at WonderCon. I was all trolling around for my podcast, and I ran into the event planner for the Worldcon. So I'm going to try to ping her again, see if we can get some inside.
Yeah, when you ping her, make sure you tell her that I didn't sign up for the right things. You should sign up for better panels. Stick me on any panel that fits.
Any panel, I'll do.
Indie women, sci-fi. Whatever.
Oh yeah, you got the niche. You should definitely go for
And I
it.
totally missed that boat when I signed up. So
No, I saw there was a bald, middle-aged white guy panel, and
yeah, right.
I don't know how I missed that.
Oh, and then the other one in October that Ingrid was mentioning is Gamacon in Palm Desert. It's a video game celebration event in a mall in Palm Desert. However, I went there last year as a sci-fi vendor. Again, I was the only sci-fi writer there. There were some comics and a few other things, but by being the only sci-fi person there, it was up until WonderCon my best show. So so it was definitely my best show last year. And so this year I reached out to the organizer, told him kind of how we present as a group, and he seemed enthusiastic about it. So I just have to finish signing the paperwork, and we'll be able to go out there in October.
Cool. We should chalk.
And hopefully we can sell a lot of books. I think we should still have a good lock on sci-fi. I don't think we'll have a ton of competition, I hope. But so yeah.
Biohunter has a game, a board game.
Really? Well, see, I'd bring it. I'd definitely bring it.
I could probably fine tune it and have it ready to go by then. But it literally, I made it for school because I was teaching my kids how to make a board game. And I was just like, you just got, because they were doing it for literature class, right? So they read some books, sci-fi books, no less, and they were going to make board games out of these, and they were terrible, but but anyway, I had to make an example. So
that is so cool. A Biohunter board game. Yeah. It's a physical board game, right? It's not virtual. It's physical with like.
I could make a virtual one, probably.
No, you don't have to. Just the physical board game of your science fiction novel is totally retro badass. That's great. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I was just going to say, my impression of this show was being in Palm Desert and Coachella Valley, there's not a ton of book events or even any, except for the music stuff, there isn't a lot of cultural opportunities out there. At least that was the impression I got. And so having an event where there was video games, comic books, people were cosplaying, I was selling books. It just seemed like people were anxious, eager, and appreciative of everybody that was there. So I'm hoping that'll be the same thing we get this year.
The other con I heard about for writers is ReaderCon. Have you heard about that? It's in Boston in July. I had three writers on the podcast prior. AC Wise is a fantasy writer. She wrote Ballad of the Bone Road, and she is a voracious reviewer. And by that I mean she cranks out tons of reviews for Apex and Locust magazine. And she raved about ReaderCon. CSE CUNY is a fantasy writer. She wrote Saint Death's Daughter, which was a noteworthy fantasy book from a few years ago. She couldn't stop talking about ReaderCon too. And Matthew Kressel is another sci-fi writer. He just wrote a novella called Rain Seekers, which is going around. And they're all like, ReaderCon. And apparently you get to have little seminars and talk about your book and do these little powwows with readers. And it's very interactive and people are really vested. Do you guys know anything about that? Are you familiar with it?
We live on the West Coast. We don't know about those things.
I'm a former New Yorker. So Boston, I still consider like a suburb.
Boston to me is home because I went to college there. So I love Boston. I would go in a heartbeat.
It's obviously more of an expense to fly, especially now with the war and jet fuel. The summer might be rough for traveling. But I just wanted to note that because that looks like a fun time if we could get to it. But that's more of a commitment than trucking down to Anaheim, California from Orange County or from.
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Ingrid Moon, Ender's Game, Expanse. If you dig that, check out Ingrid Moon. We'll have links to her stuff. Greg Sorber with his Mech Haven series, Braveheart meets the Transformers, 5-book saga. And Blake and Sherry Shimshock, James Bond, John Wick, Men in Black, Indiana Jones. The Cowboy Bebop, God damn it. You know me, Mookie Spitz. This is like podcast number 300. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, share. We got all the links to these wonderful writers. And then the next conference, Congress, what do you call them, a con? What is a con? Convention?
Convention.
Yeah.
Convention. All right, it's a one big hustle. We'll follow up. Thanks so much for making time, everybody. I had a wonderful time. I think we all did at LA Festival of Books. Let's keep doing what you're doing. And if you are an up-and-coming writer or want to be one, there's nothing better than peddling your own books to real people at real events. It's exhausting, it's expensive, it's time-consuming, and it's worth it. Right on. Postscript to our podcast, we left without figuring out our name. We were the Ingrid Moon SoCal Collective, and none of us got aroused by that name. We think it's kind of communist.
Well, we had a lot of people come up to us and ask, so you're a collective, huh?
I was joking that we all live together in a house in Pasadena.
Yeah.
Let's ideate a little bit, and maybe folks listening can vote.
There you go.
There's a little link to contact the podcaster or send us an email. But we got to get over the SoCal Sci-Fi Collective. What are some alternates?
I came up with a list. You want me to run down some of them? And then if anybody has any ideas, feel free to throw them out. So I'm going from the most likely to the least likely, but you guys can help decide. We got the SoCal Sci-Fi crew, because I do like SoCal and sci-fi because it kind of describes us.
And people like the fact that we were local, too. They asked us, are you guys local? Do you guys live here? And then they would buy to support, like, local business. They liked it.
The other one could be SoCal Sci-Fi Squad, but I think Squad will lose popularity after a while. SoCal Sci-Fi Nexus, Nexus is a nice sci-fi word. And then we got SoCal Sci-Fi Circle, SoCal Sci-Fi Guild, SoCal Sci-Fi Society.
Circle were a pentagram.
Yeah.
A guild, a circle.
Guild, circle, society or league, alliance, network. I think alliance is done enough. I think there's enough alliances. Same with networks. So I don't know. My favorite is either crew or nexus, but I'm open for suggestions.
Crew is kind of Firefly-y, right? It's kind of nuts and boltsy. And Nexus is kind of cool. There's a cool Amaranth song called Nexus, Blake. Do you remember Amaranth? You got a singer, a female singer sounds like Madonna. Then you got a smooth baritone male, and then you got a guy who sounds like the Cookie Monster, and they all sing together.
Yeah, I've only heard some of their stuff. But...
Yeah, it's a trip. In Europe, they love all that heavy black metal stuff.
Yeah.
I think we've gone on a tangent, but anyway, Nexus is cool. What was the other one? Crew. Didn't we toss around singularity, like SoCal science fiction singularity? That's kind of bullshit, though, right?
It's a little too much of a mouthful.
And also, it needs to be able to fit easily in fields and name tags and signs.
What I like about Crew, actually, is that there's something sort of, I don't know if playful's the right word about it, but there's just something sort of like, it still says we're individual and yet we're all together.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
To implicitly suggests starship, like a starship crew, of the Enterprise.
Crew of a ship? Yeah. A regular ship.
We're a motley crew.
SoCal science fiction crew. That's all right.
I like Crew.
See?
Yeah.
Crew's good.
Crew is good. What do you think, Ingrid?
Crew is my number 2. I'm going.
What's number 1 for you?
Are we gonna let people vote, or are we just gonna?
No. What was your number 1? What was your number 1? Oh, you like Nexus. Okay, so we got 2 Nexuses, 2 Crews, and we can't really arm wrestle across.
Slake and Sherry count as 2.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Crew.
You guys,
I'm fine with Crew.
You're both Crew, Blake and Sherry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's 3-2.
That's fine.
I'd be interested to hear if anybody decided they wanted to vote on it or tell us what they thought.
Yeah, if you get a lot of feedback one way or the other, let us know.
Yeah.
Let the people have a say.
On Substack, we get some traction. I'll put just a clip of this part of the video, see what they say.
That'll be fun.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Good seeing everybody.
Now we got to wait for it to upload again, right?
Yeah, we're not Ingrid Moon's science fiction SoCal crew. Nope. It's just science fiction.
Only because the way that they did their.
Yeah, I think it'll depend on the show, because some shows might require individual, like you might have to have a specific like person in charge, but
you can't tag team a booth, right? Multiple.
Depends. It's always,
But we could always go with Sherry Shimshock Sci-Fi, SoCal Sci-Fi something, because there's a lot of alliteration there.
Yeah. No, I was about to say that puts a lot of pressure on Ingrid to have her name up there. We all have to behave ourselves, or it's on her. So
it could just be, hey, whoever organizes that event and the SoCal Sci-Fi crew, and then it's
there. You go.
That way, there's one contact person.
She gets the bill if we mess it up. The SoCal Shimshock science fiction crew.
You need an extra fold down on the.
Maybe someday we can do our own event too.
Right. Covers number 1, and then branding number 2. So all of you got the covers down, and then we got this awesome branding. So we are invincible.
We're going.
Right on.
Need a logo?